It's been a problem throughout this pandemic. While governments have done the wrong thing, talked up fear, overreached with their controls, way too often the oppositions have sat back too timid to challenge them strongly. Now, one opposition MP who has challenged a government over that period is the Deputy Liberal leader in Victoria, David Southwick. He joins me now live from Melbourne. Thanks for joining us, David.
Great to be with you again, Chris.
It's been tough. I've been critical of your party at times, not criticising or differing with the Daniel Andrews government strongly enough at times. You've certainly been critical of some of the points. Now, he's certainly come around to a position, a management of this pandemic that's much closer to what New South Wales are doing. But what do you think of his push now to make the third jab, the booster jab, part of your vaccine proof? That if you're going to prove your vaccination, you have to prove 3 shots rather than 2.
Yeah, look, I think people are sick of the game keep changing. We all went out, we got double jabbed. We said that that's what needed to be done in order to get things open again. And now it's a mandated third jab. I mean, when will this all end? I think people are sensible. People will do what needs to be done, but we don't need a government telling us what to do. And we're over it, quite frankly. And I think we've got to get to a point where we're able to open again, be sensible about these things and not have governments telling us what to do and mandating these things. And I think that's been a real problem, Chris, in Victoria.
Is it time to get rid of the vaccine mandates for some employment, for instance, for teachers, for police officers, even for nurses, so that people, the small number, the low percentage of people in those areas where you are short-staffed, who are not vaccinated, can actually turn up at work?
Well, the government always said that we'd get to 95% and then we would look at being able to open things up. And again, that hasn't happened. I think we've got to be realistic in terms of when we can allow people back into a normal economy. We can't ostracise people. Again, I know a lot of people have followed the rules and done the right thing, but we do need to be able to open up and start doing things normally. I know that people are using QR codes at the moment, and the government's not even using that information. The government's collecting people's personal data, storing it on a server somewhere, yet there's no contact tracing in place. I mean, this is ridiculous, the fact that a government is effectively in Victoria like a big brother. They're getting small business to pay for actually having to administer a QR code system, yet they're not using it. That should be scrapped. And if we need QR code system again, turn it back on. But why are we insisting that small businesses should pay the price of running a QR code system that effectively no one is using?
Well, this is an absurdity, and it's occurring in New South Wales as well. I was critical earlier in the week of the New South Wales Premier, Dominic Perrottet, who's normally fond of common sense, but he's extended QR codes for another month, even though there is no contact tracing, so they are effectively worthless. But he's saying it's to give people confidence. In other words, the nervous Nellies who want to pretend that waving their phone at a sign somehow keeps them safe, he's keeping in this ridiculous system. I mean, it's just silly, isn't it? And Daniel Andrews is now making a similar sort of an argument.
It's a complete false sense of security to think that someone's going to wave a phone on a QR code and all it's doing is taking people's data and storing it on a government server somewhere when they're not having contact tracing. It's absolutely ridiculous. The government are just too slow to the game each and every time with this. And I think people have had enough of secrecy and government control and fear. We've got to move on with things. I mean, you and I have had many conversations about how businesses have been smashed out there. They're on their last legs. We've got to get confidence back. We've got to get people back. And the only way to do that is people to start being sensible, being able to make their own decisions. If you're sick, stay home. But ultimately, we've got to open up again. We had a report in the paper only today to say that 50% of small businesses in the CBD thought they only had 3 months to effectively live. They're on a knife's edge. They are absolutely in survival mode at the moment, these small businesses. And to think that the government has spent millions of dollars over the last 2 years trying to prop them up, only to walk away right now in a crucial time and force everything on these small businesses yet again. We've got to open up, we've got to get to normal, and we've got to be able to give these small businesses a fighting chance to survive.
Thanks for joining us, David. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.